Jinger Duggar, my family is doing great. No drama, no problems. Jinger Duggar Vuolo recently provided a positive update on her family, emphasizing that things are going well for everyone and that there is currently no drama or pressing concerns within the Duggar household. Her message, which resonated with fans who have followed the family's journey over the years, offered insight into how she and her loved ones are maintaining strong family ties amidst ongoing public scrutiny and past controversies. Jinger, who rose to fame as part of the large Duggar family, featured on TLC's 19 Kids and Counting and its spin-off Counting On, has gradually stepped back from the spotlight in recent years. Despite the decreased media presence, she remains an influential figure and continues to provide periodic updates on her life, faith, and family dynamics. In a recent interview, Jinger expressed that her family is thriving. She made it clear that, while no family is perfect, she currently sees no underlying issues or interpersonal problems within her family. According to her, the relationships among the siblings and extended relatives remain stable and respectful. When asked how she navigates her role in such a well-known family, Jinger replied that she maintains healthy boundaries and makes a conscious effort to prioritize open communication and mutual understanding. She stated that mutual respect is an important factor in keeping family ties strong, especially with a family as large as hers. She said, "I think we've all grown a lot over the years. Everyone is doing their own thing, but we're still connected. There's no tension, no drama. We talk, we check in, and we support each other." Over the past few years, various members of the Duggar family have taken different paths in life, some remaining closer to the traditional lifestyle taught by their parents, while others have embraced more modern or independent worldviews. Jinger has been particularly vocal about her own personal evolution, which includes re-examining aspects of her upbringing, particularly in regard to modesty, freedom of expression, and religious practices. Despite some of her public statements on distancing herself from aspects of the family's past beliefs, she confirmed that her relationships with family members are intact. She reiterated that personal growth and individual choices have not resulted in alienation or hostility. Jinger emphasized that her decision to share her journey has been rooted in honesty, not in criticism. She believes that transparency about her own life helps others who may be going through similar transitions. At the same time, she made it clear that her story is not meant to reflect poorly on her family, but rather to highlight her individual experience. She said, "I love my family. That's never changed. Just because I've grown in different ways doesn't mean I have anything negative to say about them. They're doing well, and I'm proud of all of them." Jinger also touched on her marriage to Jeremy Vuolo, noting that they continue to enjoy building their life together in California. She expressed gratitude for the support they've received from fans and friends, and she confirmed that the couple is thriving in both their personal and spiritual lives. She described her life with Jeremy as joyful and peaceful, and mentioned that their shared commitment to their faith, family values, and personal growth continues to strengthen their bond. She also acknowledged that moving away from Arkansas gave them a chance to explore new opportunities, establish independence, and nurture their own identity apart from the public spotlight. Regarding her extended family, Jinger offered updates on her siblings and parents. She said that many of them are busy raising families of their own, working, and continuing their spiritual journeys. She emphasized that the family remains in touch, and that milestones like birthdays, anniversaries, and holidays still bring them together, even if everyone doesn't live in the same state or adhere to identical beliefs. Jinger also addressed rumors and speculation that have occasionally surfaced online about tension or conflict within the family. She stated plainly that such claims are not reflective of the truth. While she acknowledged that misunderstandings can happen in any large family, she said that they are usually short-lived and resolved quickly through conversation and understanding. There's a narrative out there sometimes that things are falling apart behind the scenes, but that's simply not true. We're okay. We're all human, but we care for each other deeply, Jinger explained. She took a moment to credit her parents, Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar, for establishing a culture of connection in their home. According to Jinger, her parents have always encouraged open dialogue, even when there were differences in opinion. She also noted that her parents have made efforts to evolve with their children, adapting as their family has grown and matured. Though the Duggar family has dealt with public controversies and internal challenges over the years, Jinger insisted that those experiences have made them stronger. She views hardship as an opportunity for growth and reconciliation, and she believes that the family has emerged from difficult moments with greater empathy and resilience. Jinger did not deny that some members of her family have faced scrutiny or challenges in the public eye. However, she reiterated that such circumstances have not damaged their core relationships. Instead, she views these trials as part of the process of life and believes that they have ultimately strengthened familial bonds. She added, "We don't have to agree on everything to love each other. That's something we've all learned. It's okay to see things differently. What matters is that we're still connected and supportive." As part of her update, Jinger also confirmed that she and Jeremy are continuing their work in ministry and content creation. Their projects are focused on helping others grow in faith, develop healthy relationships, and explore questions of personal belief. She said that their work is meaningful and rewarding, and that they feel called to continue sharing their message with sincerity and grace. Jinger noted that her approach to public life has become more thoughtful and measured. She no longer feels the pressure to conform to expectations or present a specific image. Instead, she strives to be authentic and grounded, focusing on her personal values rather than outside perceptions. When asked what advice she would give to others navigating family dynamics in a public or highly scrutinized setting, Jinger encouraged humility, patience, and forgiveness. She said that prioritizing love and respect over perfection can create a lasting foundation for healthy relationships. She also acknowledged that families evolve over time. Children grow up, values shift, and relationships change. For Jinger, the key is to approach each stage of life with openness and a willingness to adapt. She believes that change, when navigated with grace, can lead to deeper bonds and greater understanding. Jinger stated, "My family isn't perfect. No family is, but we love each other, and that's what keeps us strong. There's no drama, no problems, just people who care about each other, doing their best in their own lives." She emphasized that maintaining unity does not require uniformity. In fact, she views the differences among her siblings as a strength. According to Jinger, diversity in thought and experience has allowed them to learn from one another and expand their perspectives. In conclusion, Jinger Duggar Vuolo's message was one of hope, peace, and unity. Her emphasis on family stability and emotional wellness was a refreshing change from the turmoil often associated with public families. By choosing to focus on love, respect, and personal growth, Jinger presented a narrative that resonated with fans who appreciate her thoughtful and grounded approach. She reiterated that while challenges may arise, the Duggar family remains a source of support and connection for one another. As each member pursues their own path, they remain linked by shared memories, mutual respect, and familial love. Jinger's message to the public was simple yet powerful. "We're doing great. There's no drama. We're just living life, supporting each other, and growing every day." Her words served as a reminder that behind public personas are real people navigating real relationships. And in the case of the Duggar family, those relationships remain, according to Jinger, rooted in strength, grace, and unconditional love. Jinger Duggar Vuolo and Jeremy Vuolo, former stars of the TLC series Counting On, recently spoke publicly about the current status of the Duggar family, offering a rare and subtle update about their lives and experiences in recent years. The couple acknowledged that the Duggar family has been through a significant number of challenges, changes, and transitions. Their words reflected a neutral yet honest tone, recognizing the weight of recent public scrutiny and private realities. Jinger and Jeremy, who have been more private in recent years, especially following the end of Counting On and the increased public attention surrounding the Duggar family, did not delve into specifics. However, they emphasized that they've been through a lot, and framed their comments in a manner that suggests a desire to balance honesty with family respect and boundaries. While they refrained from naming specific events or individuals, it is widely recognized that the Duggar family has experienced notable turbulence. This includes legal controversies involving Josh Duggar, the cancellation of Counting On following his arrest and conviction, as well as internal family differences over values, beliefs, and public expression. Jinger Duggar Vuolo, in particular, has been more outspoken in recent years about her evolving perspectives on the conservative teachings of her upbringing. Through her book and public interviews, she has shared how she began to deconstruct the rigid ideology she was raised with, particularly the teachings of the Institute in Basic Life Principles, led by Bill Gothard. Jinger has explained that while she still holds onto her Christian faith, she has moved away from many of the specific doctrines she once embraced. Jeremy Vuolo, a former professional soccer player and pastor, has also been vocal about the importance of sound biblical theology and critical thinking in faith. He has supported Jinger as she publicly discussed her upbringing, while also helping guide their family's new direction, particularly as they now reside in California, far from the Duggar family's Arkansas roots. Their decision to move to Los Angeles was influenced by several factors, including educational opportunities, ministry involvement, and personal growth. Both have described the move as positive and necessary for their own family unit. This geographic and emotional distance from the Duggar household has likely afforded them a different perspective on ongoing family matters. When speaking about the Duggar family's experiences, Jinger and Jeremy's language remains cautious yet sincere. Their reference to the family having been through a lot appears to acknowledge multiple layers of hardship: legal, emotional, reputational, and relational, without attempting to speak for any other family member. In public appearances and interviews, Jinger and Jeremy have also reinforced their commitment to protecting the privacy of family members who may not wish to be part of public narratives. This has resulted in them often deflecting questions about specifics, while still offering support and empathy from a distance. The couple's public comments are part of a broader context in which several Duggar siblings have taken different paths. While some, like Jinger, have opened up more about their beliefs and perspectives, others remain more aligned with traditional family values and continue to live in close proximity to their parents, Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar. Jinger's recent media projects, including her book, Becoming Free Indeed, highlight her personal journey. In the book, she wrote about fear-based teachings, modesty rules, and the pressure to conform to a strict set of guidelines. She made it clear that her departure from these teachings was not a rejection of her parents or faith, but a step toward personal freedom and a healthier understanding of religion. Jeremy and Jinger's reflections indicate a desire to balance family loyalty with transparency. They often note the complexity of family dynamics and stress the importance of grace, compassion, and honest dialogue. Their choice of words suggests ongoing care for their family, while also creating space to acknowledge the toll of recent years. The Duggar family has been part of the public eye for over a decade, beginning with 19 kids and counting, and continuing through Counting On. The family became known for its size, religious conservatism, and distinctive lifestyle. The cancellation of these shows marked a shift not only in public visibility, but also in the family's ability to control their narrative. Since then, multiple Duggar children have taken to social media, podcasts, books, or interviews to explain their viewpoints. Some have remained silent or non-public, avoiding any media appearances entirely. Jinger and Jeremy have tried to remain respectful of this divide, acknowledging the importance of respecting each sibling's level of comfort with public attention. Jinger has spoken about the trauma and confusion she felt growing up with rigid expectations about femininity, clothing, and obedience. She explained that while she once believed she needed to follow certain rules to gain favor with God, she now understands faith differently. Jeremy echoed her sentiments, explaining that theology must be rooted in biblical truth rather than human fear or manipulation. Their approach has resonated with audiences seeking insight into what it means to leave behind a high-control belief system without losing one's faith or family entirely. Jinger and Jeremy often speak of the need for patience, compassion, and time in healing and navigating these transitions. In their recent interview, the phrase, "they've been through a lot," was offered in the context of supporting rather than criticizing. It conveyed an understanding that the Duggar family has faced intense scrutiny and complex struggles. Jeremy emphasized that, regardless of differing viewpoints, family relationships matter and must be approached with love. This sentiment may not fully capture the scope of disagreement or hurt experienced within the Duggar family, but it reflects an attempt at dignity and nuance. Jeremy and Jinger appear committed to maintaining personal integrity while also avoiding unnecessary conflict or sensationalism. The choice to publicly share selective reflections has allowed them to connect with both supporters and critics. Their platform has become one of reflection, not retribution, particularly as Jinger continues to articulate the emotional and psychological impact of her upbringing, not just the factual history. Meanwhile, members of the Duggar family continue to live various lives. Some have expanded their families, launched businesses, or remained rooted in Arkansas. Others have, like Jinger, stepped away from public religious organizations or family traditions. These varied paths demonstrate a range of beliefs and lifestyles now present in the once monolithic Duggar household. Jeremy and Jinger's message seems rooted in the idea that healing takes time. They express hope that their own journey of faith, change, and understanding will encourage others to ask questions, seek truth, and treat loved ones with grace. While they remain selective in what they share, the emotional undercurrent of their words reveals deep reflection. Though Jinger and Jeremy's comments were brief, they carry weight due to their history and platform. By stating that the family has been through a lot, they align themselves with empathy rather than judgment. They implicitly recognize the multifaceted nature of family, faith, and public life, particularly within a household that has lived under intense scrutiny for years. Their statements come at a time when conversations about religious trauma, deconstruction, and identity are increasingly prevalent. Jinger's journey, in particular, has been cited as an example of someone who navigated a challenging upbringing with care, thoughtfulness, and personal conviction. In conclusion, the update offered by Jinger Duggar Vuolo and Jeremy Vuolo is a reminder of the complexities that exist within families who have lived in the spotlight. Their brief but meaningful comments suggest continued compassion for their relatives, a careful respect for boundaries, and a personal journey still unfolding. By acknowledging that the Duggar family has been through a lot, they reflect an understanding of deep personal, emotional, and communal challenges without assigning blame, naming names, or creating further division. Their words invite continued reflection, empathy, and space for healing, both within their own lives and for those who have watched their story evolve. Jinger Duggar's shift toward individual thought and personal beliefs. Jinger Duggar Vuolo has gradually distanced herself from certain family teachings, particularly those related to strict religious doctrine and lifestyle rules. Raised in a home heavily influenced by the teachings of Bill Gothard and the Institute in Basic Life Principles, Jinger once followed a rigid framework that governed dress, relationships, gender roles, and authority structures. As an adult, she began reassessing these teachings, leading to a public declaration of spiritual and personal reevaluation. While she has not rejected Christianity, she has openly expressed disagreement with what she describes as fear-based teachings that shaped her youth. This ideological divergence does not mean she has severed ties with her family, but it does illustrate a broader evolution in her approach to faith, independence, and personal responsibility. Her book, Becoming Free Indeed, outlines how she distinguished between biblical truth and what she now considers harmful misinterpretations. This marks a pivotal shift in her individual identity as it relates to her broader family dynamic. Her openness to think critically about her upbringing has become one of the most defining characteristics of her current relationship with her roots. Growing marital partnership with Jeremy Vuolo. Jinger's relationship with her husband Jeremy Vuolo has played a significant role in the evolution of her views. Their marriage introduced her to new perspectives on theology, personal growth, and emotional health. Jeremy, a former professional soccer player turned pastor, holds theological views that differ from the ones Jinger grew up with. This difference initially required Jinger to confront and reassess long-held assumptions. Their partnership is characterized by shared decision-making, a mutual respect for individuality, and ongoing dialogue about values. Jinger has emphasized that Jeremy encouraged her to explore theology on a deeper level rather than accepting prepackaged belief systems. His support during her deconstruction of IBLP ideology gave her the space to question ideas she had previously accepted without scrutiny. Over time, this has fostered an intellectually collaborative relationship that is distinct from the hierarchical marriage model she was raised to believe in. In interviews, Jinger frequently describes her marriage as a source of strength and clarity. The dynamic also sets a contrast with the courtship-focused, family-directed marriage system promoted in her family's belief structure, highlighting a notable shift in her outlook on autonomy within marriage. Evolving attitudes toward parenting and family legacy. Jinger's views on parenting reflect her evolving approach to authority, discipline, and child development. Although she does not publicize many aspects of her private family life, the glimpses she has shared indicate a focus on grace, emotional connection, and open communication with her children. She has expressed that she does not plan to raise her daughters under the same doctrinal framework that guided her own upbringing. This intentional departure from fear-based parenting is an indicator of how Jinger's family dynamics have shifted generationally. She has emphasized the importance of children understanding why values matter rather than simply obeying them out of fear of punishment. This represents a broader shift in the Duggar family narrative from unquestioned obedience to nuanced guidance. Jinger has not publicly criticized her parents' decisions regarding child rearing, but instead focused on emphasizing her choice to do things differently. Her approach is indicative of a generational evolution that values emotional well-being, intellectual freedom, and spiritual curiosity. Navigating relationships with siblings and family members. Despite her ideological differences, Jinger maintains relationships with several of her siblings. However, she has acknowledged that these relationships have grown more complex over time. Some family members remain closely aligned with IBLP teachings, while others have begun to adopt more flexible or reformed viewpoints. This internal diversity has created varying levels of closeness and distance among the siblings. Jinger has refrained from publicizing private disagreements or tensions, choosing instead to speak broadly about unity and mutual respect. However, she does recognize that differing belief systems can change how communication functions within a large family. Her neutral and diplomatic tone indicates a desire to remain on peaceful terms while still maintaining personal convictions. Her interactions with her siblings are often seen through the lens of mutual milestones, birth announcements, weddings, and family gatherings, rather than theological debates. Nevertheless, Jinger's evolution has introduced a level of ideological complexity that did not exist during the years when the family functioned as a more uniform unit under shared doctrine. engagement with public platforms, and media transparency. Jinger Duggar's evolution has also included a transformation in how she engages with the public. While early Duggar media appearances were largely structured and monitored, her current public presence is defined by greater autonomy and transparency. Her decision to publish a book critically examining the religious system she grew up in marked a significant step in controlling her own narrative. She has participated in interviews, podcasts, and public events where she speaks openly about her journey. This marks a stark contrast to her earlier media appearances, which were often guided by broader family representation. Jinger's voice is now presented independently of the collective Duggar brand, reflecting a more personal and authentic public identity. In managing her public platform, Jinger also demonstrates caution and boundaries. She avoids sensationalism, refrains from exploiting private family matters for attention, and often steers interviews toward constructive discussion rather than controversy. This calculated transparency indicates a mature navigation of media engagement, distinguishing her as a public figure in her own right. The broader impact of Jinger's journey on Duggar family perception. Jinger's personal evolution has had ripple effects beyond her immediate household. By publicly acknowledging the psychological and theological impact of IBLP teachings, she has become a reference point for others questioning similar frameworks. While she does not claim to represent all of her siblings, her voice has added credibility and nuance to broader discussions about high-control religious environments. Her insights contribute to a growing public awareness of the complexities within the Duggar family system, challenging the overly simplistic portrayals often presented in media or reality television. Through her writings and public remarks, Jinger has helped create space for a more realistic understanding of what it means to grow up in a tightly regulated faith-based household. As Jinger continues to express her personal convictions and engage in public conversations about faith, family, and autonomy, she broadens the scope of the Duggar family legacy. Her story is not one of rejection, but of redefinition and evolving narrative that underscores the possibility of personal growth within the context of strong familial roots. Jinger Duggar's family evolution and dynamics offer a complex picture of transformation, influenced by faith reevaluation, marital partnership, parenting choices, sibling relationships, public engagement, and broader cultural impact. Her journey illustrates how individuals can emerge from highly structured backgrounds with a clearer sense of personal conviction and identity. While maintaining respect for her origins, she has carved out a space defined by freedom of thought, intentional living, and emotional authenticity. Her path represents more than a departure, it symbolizes an inward recalibration, guided by reflection, learning, and grace. In doing so, she offers a framework for others, seeking to balance familial love with personal truth. The trajectory of her family relationships may continue to shift, but her voice adds an ongoing dimension to the understanding of evolving faith and family systems in modern contexts. Jessa Duggar, known for her role on reality TV and as a member of the Duggar family, has opened up about her emotional challenges during her recent pregnancy. After experiencing a miscarriage in 2022, Jessa shared that it was difficult to feel emotionally connected during the early months of her next pregnancy. Her remarks have sparked conversations about grief, healing, and the complexities of pregnancy after loss. In a recent update, Jessa discussed how the loss of her previous baby affected her perspective when she became pregnant again. According to Jessa, the trauma from the miscarriage remained close to the surface as she navigated the early stages of her next pregnancy. She explained that she found it emotionally hard to attach or invest too deeply at first, out of fear that she might experience another loss. She revealed that the fear of another miscarriage weighed heavily on her thoughts, especially during the first trimester. The emotional aftermath of her previous miscarriage had created a mental and emotional barrier, making it challenging to fully embrace the new pregnancy with excitement or joy right away. Jessa, who shares children with her husband Ben Seewald, has spoken openly in the past about her experiences with pregnancy and motherhood. Her decision to publicly share her struggles this time is consistent with how she has previously approached family life, often using social media and online platforms to connect with others going through similar experiences. During her conversation about this pregnancy, Jessa emphasized that it wasn't that she didn't care or wasn't grateful. Instead, she felt emotionally protective, choosing not to get too attached too quickly because of the intense grief she had gone through just months earlier. She also said that, although physically she knew she was pregnant and was doing all the right things medically, it took her longer emotionally to come to terms with what that meant for her and her family. Jessa explained that emotional investment in a pregnancy is something many women might take for granted if they haven't experienced loss. But after losing a baby, everything changes. She admitted that, while she was thankful and hopeful, the sense of uncertainty never really went away until she reached a later, more stable point in the pregnancy. This emotional hesitation was not just about fear, but about guarding her heart. She went on to describe how she had to actively process her grief and remind herself that each pregnancy is different. With time, she began to feel more emotionally connected to the baby and allowed herself to hope again. That shift didn't happen all at once, but was gradual, as she progressed through her pregnancy milestones and received reassurance during medical appointments. The miscarriage that preceded this pregnancy had been especially painful for Jessa, not only because of the physical experience, but also because of the emotional and spiritual weight it carried. She mentioned that at the time, she and her husband leaned heavily on their faith and each other for strength, but it took time to fully come to terms with the loss. Jessa's honesty about the impact of miscarriage and how it can affect subsequent pregnancies resonated with many women who have experienced similar losses. Her reflections bring attention to the silent and ongoing emotional toll that miscarriage can have, long after the physical recovery is over. She also shared that she felt a certain pressure, especially as someone in the public eye, to appear joyful and positive during her pregnancy. However, internally, she was dealing with a complex mix of emotions, including gratitude, fear, grief, and hope. Navigating that emotional spectrum while also caring for her other children and maintaining daily responsibilities was not easy. Jessa mentioned that this emotional journey taught her more about empathy. She now has a deeper understanding of what others go through during difficult pregnancies or after experiencing loss. Her perspective on motherhood and pregnancy has shifted, and she approaches it now with more caution, but also with more appreciation for each moment. As she continued sharing, Jessa stated that one of the hardest things was managing the expectations around her. Well-meaning friends and family were excited, and she didn't want to dampen their enthusiasm. Still, she also found it difficult to mirror their excitement when she was dealing with lingering grief and anxiety internally. She described this tension as emotionally exhausting at times. Over time, she said she was able to allow herself to start bonding with her baby. Simple things, like feeling movement or hearing the baby's heartbeat during checkups, slowly helped rebuild the connection. She acknowledged that healing from miscarriage is not linear and that it's okay to feel conflicted during a subsequent pregnancy. Jessa also talked about how her other children reacted to the pregnancy. She said that their joy and curiosity were a source of encouragement, even during moments when she felt uncertain. Watching them prepare for the new baby and express their excitement reminded her of the beauty and joy that children bring, and it helped her gradually lean into hope again. She underscored the importance of talking about miscarriage and its aftermath, noting that it often remains a silent grief. Jessa encouraged women to give themselves grace and not rush the emotional process. She also advised family and friends of grieving women to offer support without pressure, recognizing that emotional readiness may take time. Jessa further reflected on how her miscarriage had affected her sense of trust in her body, in the process, and even in her ability to stay optimistic. Rebuilding that trust was part of the journey. She didn't have all the answers, but she found comfort in acknowledging her emotions and working through them gradually. She credited her faith as an important source of support, stating that prayer and spiritual reflection were central to how she processed her loss and found strength during her next pregnancy. Although her emotions fluctuated, she said having a spiritual foundation gave her something steady to lean on. In addition to faith, Jessa shared that journaling her thoughts and talking with others who had experienced pregnancy loss were helpful ways for her to cope. Hearing other women's stories helped her feel less alone and reminded her that her reactions were normal and valid. She also pointed out that the experience helped her become more compassionate toward others. She now has a better understanding of why some women might seem emotionally detached during early pregnancy or avoid making big announcements right away. Everyone processes grief and hope differently, and that's okay. Jessa's willingness to talk about the emotional complexity of pregnancy after miscarriage has been received as a helpful and authentic perspective. Her experience sheds light on a topic that often remains under-discussed, especially in communities where family and motherhood are highly emphasized. Toward the end of her reflections, she said that although the journey was challenging, she believes in acknowledging each part of it: the grief, the fear, the hope, and eventually, the joy. Her story is a reminder that healing does not mean forgetting or moving on too quickly. It means honoring what was lost while making space for new life. She concluded by encouraging women who have experienced miscarriage to be gentle with themselves, seek support, and take their time. She emphasized that it's okay not to feel okay, and it's okay to celebrate cautiously. Emotional investment may not come immediately, but it can grow in time, with patience and compassion. Jessa's story continues to resonate because it reflects the lived experiences of many who face loss and hope side by side. By speaking openly, she contributes to broader awareness and understanding around the realities of pregnancy after miscarriage. In sharing her emotional journey, Jessa Duggar offers insight into a vulnerable but important part of motherhood. Her openness serves as a reminder that every pregnancy journey is unique, and that emotional healing after loss is both valid and essential. Through her honesty, she has helped others feel seen, heard, and understood.